On this edition of Read with Ronald, I collaborated with my friend Tati Simone to read 4 books for her Days of Slay series. On this episode, we will be talking about Everything I Never Told You. First published in 2014, Celeste Ng's Everything I Never Told You follows the Lee family, a racially and culturally mixed Chinese-American family in 1970s Ohio, as they grieve middle child Lydia. Everything I Never Told You was Ng's debut novel, taking her 6 years to write and publish. Everything I Never Told You was a New York Times bestseller, Amazon's #1 best book of 2014, and named a Best Book of the Year by over a dozen publications, and won several literary awards, including the Massachusetts Book Award, the Asian Pacific American Award for Literature, the American Library Association's Alex Award, and the Medici Book Club Prize. Today is December 2nd, and I'm starting Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Tati said she really enjoyed this book. This is one of the books she recommended. I'm hoping I enjoy it. It's really short. I think I can read this in like 2 days. Maybe even a day if I really try it, but I'm gonna aim for 2 days. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this book. It's December 4th. I'm still reading Everything I Never Told You. I probably could have had this done by now, but life just decided to act up, so I'm still reading it. I've only got the first chapter done, but I told Tati this. Celeste Ng has that writing style that you gotta like read a few times to understand what she's trying to say, what she's trying to convey, and it's like that's not a bad thing. But sometimes you gotta just reread the sentence, maybe 2 or 3 times to kind of get an understanding of what's going on. But I'm still very hopeful for this book. The first chapter was really good. I'm hopeful for this book. I can already see some of the themes that she's trying to address. And so I'm very excited to see how she tells this story. I'm excited for it. I'm halfway through Everything I Never Told You. This book is... I don't know. I don't have words to describe it. It has everything I want in a book, but for some reason it's just not giving me what I want it to give me. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Today is December 6th. I'm halfway through Everything I Never Told You. This book it's not bad. It is good. This book is good, but it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like a 3.5, kind of like a 3.5, kind of like a 4 for me. Like, it's good. The storyline is there. The characters are good, but I don't know. It's just something missing. I can't explain what it is, but there's something missing. As far as like the plot, I kind of saw what was finna happen at like chapter 3. It's only 12 chapters, but like by chapter 3, I already know everything that's going on. So right now, I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. It's I already know what's going on. By chapter 3, you kind of get a sense of where the story is going. So it's like, as you're reading it, like every reveal is like, okay, well, yeah, that kind of. I think that's the issue I'm having with this book. It's predictable. That's what it is. Everything I Never Told You is a good book, but it's predictable. That's the problem. Because by chapter 3, I pretty much knew the storyline. I knew exactly where the story was going. And I was right. It's going exactly how I expected it to go. So, that's not to say a book has to be unpredictable to be good, but it's like when you know everything that's going to happen, the story just kind of pointed you to where it was going. And it's hitting every mark of expected. I don't know. So this is it's kind of like a 3.5. It's kind of like a 3.5 or 4 for me, and I think me kind of being able to piece together what was gonna happen by chapter 3 is kind of what I guess killed the hype a little bit for me. So yeah, so I'm halfway through. I'm gonna finish it. Like I said, I'm only halfway through, so maybe it'll be like, oh well, you didn't see this coming, but we'll see. Is later on tonight. I just finished Everything I Never Told You. I gave this book a 4. After realizing that my issue with the book was that it was predictable, I quite enjoyed it. of course, it was predictable, so I kind of saw everything coming. There was really only like one thing that really had me like, oh, wait a minute. But other than that, even though this book was predictable, I enjoyed it. It was well written, characters were good, development was good. After I realized it was predictable, that kind of helped with my experience with the book a little bit. So yeah, overall, it was a four. Our next book is Everything I Never Told You. This was a book that Tati wanted me to read. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I gave this book a three.
I love this book. It made me cry.
Um, it made her cry, and I'm not even gonna lie, this book was no, it's I don't want to be disrespectful or rude to Celeste Ng because this was her debut novel, and she's not a bad writer, but this book was boring. This book was boring. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because I literally, like, the first half of the book I'm reading through, it took like, okay, I told Tati it was gonna take me 2 days to read this book because this book, look at
Oh,
that. Look at that.
that's what he thought.
I'm like, oh, this is gonna take me 2 days. It took me 5 days to read this book. I was on day three, still in the first half. I'm like, what is taking me so long to read this book? And so I sat down and I thought about it. I'm like, it's well written. The characters make sense. The emotion is there, even though I'm not really feeling it. But it was like, it's like I would sit down, I would read, and I'd be okay reading. But then once I finished reading, I'd be like, this book is boring. And I don't understand why. And then it wasn't until I was sitting down thinking about it that I realized my issue with this book right here, my issue with it is that it's predictable. So once again,
Okay.
I went from being a reader to a writer because I was like, because I was thinking about it, I'm like, I know what's gonna happen because I could tell by like chapter three, I knew what was going on. I'm like, okay, this book is about a girl named Lydia who died and her family is grieving her. But the way
Mm.
it's marketed as a mystery. But this is not a mystery. This is a book explaining why this girl died.
That's why you don't read. That's why you don't read.
And so as I'm reading through it, I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, if this supposed to be a mystery, it's not a good one because I've already figured out what happened by chapter three. And this book is like 12 chapters long. And so once I realized the book was predictable, I was like, oh, that's my issue with it. I already know what's going to happen. And so once I figured that out, I finished the rest in like a day. And I was like, yep, I'm like, see, yep, that happened, that happened, that happened. It's exactly how I predicted it was going to happen. So that's why I get it. That's why I got a three, because once I realized it was predictable, I kind of lowered my standards on it.
Mm. Baby Girl, one of my favorite books, made me cry. Now I haven't went back to read it again, but I will say I will agree. It took me a few days to read. I did not read on it, and from the back, what I did read, I didn't get suspense. I don't think. Um, but it's a book that I think I love it because how he said the emotion is there. Now with figuring out everything that happened, I don't I don't think the book is like a murder mystery. I don't. I think it's kind of what he said of just explaining. I personally see it as explaining this girl died and the effects that it had on her family, and then the how her family played a role in her death. Like, yeah, her death is affecting them, but also how her family played a role, how her dynamics played a role in her death. And it crumbled the family and brought the face of the family down because they realized everything was a lie. Everything was a lie. Like everything was a lie. Like the dad, Lydia, the brother, even the neighbor. Everything was a lie. He's thinking that the neighbor and Lydia trying to be together whole time. Who's the real crush? Who's the real crush? So that and that last scene where she was like, when they're like at the pier together, and because it goes, if y'all don't know, the book goes back and forth from perspectives. I mainly remember Lydia's perspective and her brother's perspective, but it goes back and forth. So you do get her perspective and things, and then theirs. But that last scene where you get her perspective, it's like it's a lot for me. It's a lot for me. You want to break some of it down?
Like I said, this book was boring. Like to the point, I don't even have no notes really. My notes was like I was trying to get through this book, but I'm gonna go off what I remember. My first thing is this book is about a. It says it's about a Chinese American family, but it's a racially mixed Chinese American family. So the dad is Chinese, the mom is white, and the kids are mixed. But it takes place in the 70s, so all the kids are seen as Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing with this book was I'm gonna start with the parents. Um I hated the dad. The dad got
Fair
on my
enough.
nerves
Fair enough.
because it's like, sir, you are grieving. You're supposed to be grieving the death of your supposed favorite child. And instead of and you choose to grieve by going to have an affair with your teacher's assistant, and it becomes to the point where you regret marrying your wife because y'all are different, and you doing all this while you are grieving your child. I'm like, are you actually grieving your child, or are you grieving something else?
That face that they put on crumble real quick. Different people are different, but I think that all of that was meant to because different people grieve different. But honestly, I think that was all a part of the show. All of this, Lydia's death uncovered a bunch of lies,
Mhm.
like just a bunch of lies, and show how much she thought her brother was holding the family together, and really how much it was actually her holding the family together. Like she thinking the brother is special and all the other siblings are special, when really she was that person that was really doing everything. And even for her whole thing was a lie. And for me, I will say the only three important characters for me was Lydia, the brother, and the neighbor. The I love the little sister too, though. The little sister was the one side character that I really loved, especially because she showed the point that how you said we're grieving, but just because somebody's little doesn't mean they don't understand what's going on. Just because she's the youngest, she peeped everything, reading diaries and all, like she wasn't supposed to, but she peeped everything. I loved having her because she was like, I loved her brother. I loved her brother's perspective because he was really hard searching for his sister, but he was so caught up on somebody to blame. That was him. He was so caught up on figuring out somebody to blame when honestly, all of them are to blame for her death. All of them. And it's not like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe all of it together. But I know because she did a good ending to me and my homegirls. She had a very good ending. And that ending of like where you want to prove people wrong and you want to prove that you could do this and you want to prove yourself. And so you jump into this water knowing that you can't swim and drown because you're trying to be brave, as they say.
Mhm.
You're trying to be brave. You're trying to be this person. And all of her emotions of like not feeling good enough, of having to lie to her parents, of not being this person, not being that person, it made me cry. I was like, no, it made me cry. Having, like you said, I think the emotion was there.
I kind of felt like it was an accident, but it wasn't because it's like the first time she fell in a okay, so she died by drowning in a lake in her town, and she actually fell in twice. One was when she was younger, but she was saved by her brother, and the second time was the time that she died. And I just said that she was saved by her brother, like he wasn't the one that pushed her in. But basically, like the first time that happened, uh, she kind of like when he pushed her into the lake, she kind of just accepted it. She was just like, "Oh, I'm in the lake, finally, some peace." So I was like, kind of like the second time when she done rode her way out to the middle of the lake And because she didn't accidentally fall in, she deliberately went out on that lake to try to prove that she could swim. So I'm like, I want. So part of me wonders if she purposely went out there to kind of just be like, okay, this is kind of like the last time I felt safe, so let's try this again.
Yeah, I definitely could see. I can see that. I don't know. I don't think that it was necessarily intentional, but I could see where you're pulling that from, to be honest. I think that last scene is what makes it, and Lydia's parts are what makes it so emotional because her parts are very just emotional. They touch a different place. And when you get her point of view, because I we could just sit here and tell you what happened and all her family, but the writing I think Celeste did, and I don't know if we said this on camera or not, but you said she pulled it from like a personal space, right? Or
Hmm.
she said that a personal place, and you could tell because it's just really personal. Like, because you don't know what happened, but even when you find out from her, it's different. We could sit here and tell you exactly what happened, or he just told you, but when you read it, it's it's a lot different. And I think that's the one of the reasons why. Not I think I know that's one of the reasons why I love it. It comes from a very emotional place. And
Hmm.
it's so different. The jumps from people, but also just from what Lydia actually experienced and what everybody else thinks she was or what she experienced, different things. I think it wasn't predictable for me. I would also say that. It was not predictable for me, but I also didn't look at it like a mystery. I didn't
I
look at it like a this
I
girl
think
had
that's what it
clearly
was. I think that's what it was. You approached it just blindly, and I approached it reading this misleading summary on the back of the book.
yeah. It wasn't I opened the book and said she died. What's the mystery? She did. Mystery. And then them trying to find her killer, it's like how you said. Nobody I figured nobody had killed her. Now the police didn't care about her, but I don't think it took how you say I don't think it took long to figure out that probably nobody killed her. Especially when the only suspect was a neighbor that the brother
Hmm.
hate. You just hate him. That's why he's a suspect, because you hate him and you want to figure it out. So I wasn't in it for the mystery. I was really in it for like the family, the connection that it had. This one we did the least amount of spoilers on.
Because
I just realized
it's just like what is there really to talk about? Like it's a girl that died, and her family is the reason she died, and they imposed everything they wanted for her onto her instead of letting her be who she was. And then on top of that, she got to deal with racism because she the only Asian girl in the town.
it's like it's a short, simple book, but the emotion is there. It's a very emotional book. And I would recommend it. I give it a 4.5, if you want to be honest.
I gave it a 3.
I give it 4.5. That book made me, it's a few books that made me cry, but really most of these books. But that one I give a high score. And I give it based off of the emotion. She did a really good job of capturing family problems, racial problems, and all of that. Mystery,
There was no mystery.
but but emotion, having an emotional story, having a meaningful story, it was a meaningful story, especially for to have her perspective, because that's a different we're all minorities, but we're all minorities in different ways.
Hmm.
So it's different for me or a mixed child, if I had a mixed child, than her being a mixed child. So I like that perspective of it all. I like the time period. I liked it all. So her daddy, that little girl.
Yeah, it was all
I did
right
not
to
like
me.
her daddy, that little girl.
I just didn't like her
No, it was
parents. I didn't like her parents. I didn't like her brother. It was
the story
after
is great.
after a certain part, I'm like, sir, I'm talking about her brother. After a certain part, it's like at this point, you should kind of be like, kind of starting to accept that it wasn't him that did it. But the whole time, you like, It was him. It was him. It was all the way up to the end. And the only reason you even stopped is because your younger sister pushed you in the lake. It took your younger sister pushing you in the lake to stop blaming this man.
To realize it's that part. Like he was the one in denial. All of them are grieving. All of them are going through their grieving, like grieving stages in different ways. So like the dad's off cheating. I don't remember what the mom was doing. I think she was just getting more like snappy.
The
The little
mom was
sister
just
being
like,
big yellow.
somebody did it, somebody did it, somebody did it, to the point that she done destroyed the whole darn house.
Yeah. And the brother was denial, Mr. I'ma find him, hunt him down. I'ma find him and hunt them down. But it's seeing their family deal with that. But also what I love is seeing her. So you see what they think and you see what actually happened. Like what they think about her, and then you see what actually happened. And then you see which siblings know the most. Because I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but the brother thinks he knows everything, and the little sister know the most out of everybody.
You just have to read it. You have to read it.
You do.
Make your own opinion. Read it and make your own opinion.
I agree with his reasoning. It's not a mystery. it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not. Yeah, I agree. If I was reading it as a mystery, I'd be upset too. Because yeah, you figure out very soon that probably nobody,
Like by
or
chapter
if somebody,
three, literally, I'm telling you, by chapter three, I'm like, this girl died because her family was trying to make her into somebody she was not.
so even if somebody did kill her, it's not the way that they thought. Even if it was somebody else's fault, you already kind of knew. But y'all, we could talk about books all day. We
Hmm.
could talk about books and movies, all of that, all day. So I can't even say we didn't expect to get it this deep.
Oh
But it
my
was
goodness.
great.
It was fun.
This was definitely fun. We definitely have to do it again. I already know. I'm over here. I already know what my next book gonna be. I already know my next assignment. I
Oh,
already,
oh shoot. Hold on. It's these
I,
two. The first and the second.
Now I get an extra assignment. I should have put it there. Yeah, I get extra assignment. I already know my next assignment. I don't know what I want to have Ronald read yet. Because I want just romance. So
I
I
know.
did romance.
I
I
know
did
what
a
I want y'all
family.
to read. I know what I want y'all to
Oh,
read.
I know what my favorite book. My
Go
favorite
go
book that dropped. My
go
favorite
read
book.
this. Go buy it.
A
That's
book
my
that has
name.
story characters, character development. Okay. Won't leave you hanging. And don't play.
And you know
Because
what?
if
You
y'all
know what? While we at it, while we
huh,
at it, I mean, if y'all want to get these ones too.
bam. Love all of them. I'm gonna try to link them below. There's another one.
I mean,
There's another one. Yeah. It's how it looks. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, get that one. Go
get
ahead,
all
get that
four.
one. Yes, I have all four. They're on my bookshelf along with this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I may put this one up there, but I may see if I can get like a big or a hard copy. If I can't, then it's gonna go up there because this is definitely this is great. This was very fun. We're definitely
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it again. I have my assignments. I have to give Ronald's his. If you guys like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Okay, if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs up anyways because I said so. Go ahead and make sure y'all follow Ronald. Make sure y'all go get his book. Make sure y'all pick up these books that we recommended. Sula is a great one. Friends and Lovers, great one. Yeah. Everything I Never Told You.
It
To
was
Prepare a
okay.
Black Man.
I mean,
Okay.
if you want to get this one, go ahead.
And yeah, y'all, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share, so we can get more people into this potential family, okay? So you can grow with your girl. And so you can grow with your girl. And I would say, Ron, you ain't gonna dance.
All right. So y'all make sure y'all follow. Oh well, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you watch from my channel, go follow Tati at Tati Simone. Simone is spelled Somne. And if you have an issue,
Mhm.
talk to her mama. And if you watching on Tati's, follow me at my name. It's literally Ronald Savage Jr. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. We're gonna try this again next month, but I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Enjoyed as much as we did. Okay, y'all. Bye.
Bye.